next.
Well, President Obama was in Michigan today to focus on autos one day after Steve Rattner quit the task force and Bloom takes over. Mr. Bloom, for more on the auto industry, let's head to our Detroit bureau and our own Bloomberg editor-at-large, Daron Levin. So, Daron, Rattner's tenure kind of short here. Why did he leave the job of running the task force, and kind of what work is left undone here?
Well, before Steve Rattner was head of the task force, he was a principal in a firm called Quadrangle, a hedge fund in New York City, and a private equity firm that was tainted with an investigation that's unfolding about kickbacks in the pension fund industry. And that proved to be a bit of an embarrassment to the administration. Actually, the president's spokesperson had to say that he had full confidence in Rattner just at a critical phase during the negotiations. Eventually, Steve Rattner would like to be Treasury Secretary, and probably this story has a lot less oomph behind it if he is out of the government and out of the spotlight. So that probably explains why he's leaving now, along with the fact that the main part of his job really is over at this point, which is getting GM and Chrysler back on its feet.
So is the Obama administration then, or is Steve Rattner banking on sort of short-term memory loss from voters?
Well, first of all, we've got to get through this term, and Geithner really has a lot of other issues that are probably even more pressing and will bear on how the administration does in terms of its Treasury Secretary with respect to the banks, with respect to credit. But the automobile industry is a big deal. General Motors, much more so than Chrysler, but both of them together represent a big chunk of money. And, of course, the president will be up for the re-election campaign will probably start in 2 years. And at that point, it's going to be pretty obvious whether things are working as the task force said they ought to work in the reconstituted General Motors. And at that point, the judgment will come to bear on how well Rattner and Bloom really did on the restructuring.
Hey, Daron, though, Rattner, his exit, does that kind of put the spotlight, a brighter spotlight, if you will, on his cohort, Ron Bloom, who was also from Quadrangle?
Well, Ron Bloom's role was critical and remains even more critical now that Rattner is gone. He is thought to be somewhat less ambitious in terms of future jobs in the government, but who knows? Things might come to him as well. He's much less willing to deal with the press and won't give interviews, and is tough to get to and tough to ask questions of. So we'll probably learn less from Ron Bloom, or at least it'll be harder to find out information from Ron Bloom when he's running this.
Well, Daron, today, Harvey Miller, the bankruptcy lawyer, told me that he thinks the GM bankruptcy, or at least the auto task force portion, is going to be done by the end of August anyway. So at least according to Harvey Miller, there won't be much more for Bloom to do.
Well, I read that. I'm not sure I agree with that. The performance of the companies is going to be critical over the next 2 years, and it may be that the task force formally will disband, but the Treasury oversight of the companies won't end, and it won't be less important a year from now or 2 years from now. I think we can really expect the Treasury oversight to go away when these companies go public again, especially General Motors. I'm not sure about Chrysler, but when General Motors goes public again, and they've stated that the Treasury has stated that it wants to take it public,
right,
and it's able to unwind the government's position in GM, then I think you can expect to see the task force go away.
All right, we got to run. Daron, thanks so much.